Honey, I'm ready for my dinner. What is this?
You said you want to date for less.
Not this much less.
What up, buddy? It's your money buddy, Joe! Oh crap. Guys, today I am so freaking pumped because we are at the end of our series on saving on the big three expenses: housing, transportation, and food. Joe, why are you in the forest? Well, you know what? The forest is green. And you know what else is green? Money. And you know why I'm on a path? It's because we're on the path to financial freedom. So today we're gonna be talking about saving on food. Food takes up about 13% of the average American's yearly expenses. If we can save some dough in this area, not that dough, this dough, then hopefully it can help us take leaps and bounds towards our ultimate goal of financial freedom. Tip number 1. Stop going out to eat as much. So I did some research and found out that the average American household spends about $3,000 a year going out to eat. That includes single person households too. So imagine if you go out to eat maybe 5 times a week and spend about just $10 at each of those outings. Okay, so that's about $50 a week. So if you put that over the span of a year, that's about $2,600 right there. That's super close to the national average. And I'm sure for a lot of us, some of those meals can easily be over $10. From taking your boo out on some dates, from getting that dessert, going to fancy restaurants sometimes for special occasions, tipping your server, you can definitely see how going out to eat can totally add up. Restaurants often mark up their food about 300%. So if you were gonna make the same meal at home, you could do it for about a third on average. So that $10 meal that you get at the restaurant, you could make at home for about $3 to $4 instead. Now, eating at restaurants isn't all bad. I'm not totally against eating out. There's social events, there's special occasions, celebrating accomplishments, or maybe eating out is your splurge and you get a lot of value trying out new restaurants. But the problem I have with eating out is when it's done too often for convenience's sake. So if you want to save big on not going out to eat as much, maybe you should start eating in more. So let's take our example earlier of spending that $50 a week, 5 of those meals being $10 each. If we can take 3 of those meals and make it at home instead and save 2/3 the cost, then each of those 3 meals should be about, let's just say $3.33 for the example. If you can make that change alone to your eating out, then you can save about an extra $1,000 a year. Also, in doing some research, I came across a ton of articles talking about a $5 a day food budget. There are literally tons of articles out there of people having this as a challenge, and they're eating healthy on it too. Imagine if you could get your entire food budget down to just $35 a week. That would be mega savings. I even came across some articles of some insane hardcore savers having just a $10 a week food budget. I mean, what the heck? That's insane. I mean, shoot, if you could do that every single week for a year, that's only about $520 a year. Now, I didn't really believe that you could do this in a healthy way. I don't know, maybe I'll have to test this out and see how I feel, but I kind of want to give it a try and see what it's all about. Maybe I can do that for a future episode. I know none of those people are shopping at Whole Foods. And that brings us to number 3. Pick your grocery store wisely. Now, certain grocery stores I feel like are the Apple or the Mercedes of grocery stores. They can get you from point A to point B or food the stomach, but you're gonna pay a lot more for it. Places like Whole Foods are definitely an example of a high-end grocery store. You know what they call Whole Foods? Whole paycheck. If you pick your grocery store right, you can even save upwards of 50% just going somewhere else and getting the same food. Now I know some of you guys out there are limited on your grocery store choices depending on where you live, but if you have multiple grocery stores, shop around and see which stores you can buy the same goods that you buy every day, but save more at.
But Joe, I want my food to be high quality. I want some organic food. I want to be healthy.
Well, you know what? You don't have to go to a high-end grocery store to get really nice quality organic food. In fact, one of the largest suppliers of organic food is Walmart. Now for me, Walmart's kind of a dangerous dark hole because when I go in there, it's so big and I can get lost in there and spend more money than what I was planning. But if you don't want to go to Walmart, one of my favorite places to shop is Trader Joe's. I feel like you can get a ton of really high quality organic stuff there, but instead of Whole Foods prices, it's more Walmart prices. Now I'm not totally against shopping at a place like Whole Foods. Sometimes they have ingredients that you just can't find at any other store. But guys, I've been waiting for this moment for so freaking long. I get to share with you guys my all-time favorite grocery store, Aldi. Guys, my love for Aldi has gone so far, too far. I have an entire Instagram dedicated to my love for Aldi. Aldi is kind of like Trader Joe's brother. They kind of have a shared history, but I won't get into that now. I was first introduced to Aldi when I was a broke college student. It was right across from my apartment and it saved me a ton of money on my groceries. And that is when I fell in love. Aldi keeps many of their operating costs low and they're able to share that savings with their customers. And also their food quality is great. They keep foods with synthetic colors, MSG, and trans fats out of their store. They have a lot of organic options, they have some gluten-free options, and they're starting to introduce more vegan options for you vegan people out there. For you vegan freaks! Just kidding, you're not all freaks. Some of you are. I honestly can't say enough good things about Aldi. The only gripe I have with Aldi sometimes is that their produce can spoil a little faster than other grocery stores' produce, but it's because they don't use as much preservatives as other stores do. So I can deal. You can easily do a couple of quick Google searches and find articles comparing Aldi's prices versus other stores' prices and do your own price comparison. There are other stores like Aldi as well. Aldi's arch nemesis, Lidl. Lidl is honestly basically the same as Aldi. They offer some of the same great savings. They're both European, and they also have a bakery. Aldi doesn't have a bakery, so that's a plus for Lidl, but Aldi still has my heart. All right, now let's get into some grocery store strategies. Dang helicopter!
Again.
Get to the chopper!
Get to the chopper!
Make sure you have that grocery store plan. Going into the grocery store without a plan is like going into David Bowie's Labyrinth without a map. A plan helps you stick to your needs and stay on budget, and it helps you avoid temptation. A plan can include what ingredients you need to buy at the grocery store for what you're gonna be making that week. Using an app like Mealime can help you plan your meals for the week and let you know what ingredients you need to pick up from the grocery store. Many stores also offer pickup options. A lot of stores have their own apps where you can do pickup, or you can even use apps like Instacart for other people to grab the groceries for you. It can save you time and it can save you money from not being tempted to buy extra stuff you don't need. Next tip. Buy in bulk. When you buy in bulk, you can buy more ounces or grams of food for less. If you buy food that you regularly go through, then this can be an awesome option. But be careful not to waste any of that food because sometimes we can buy too much in bulk and then have a ton of food left over that we end up throwing away after it goes bad. And that cost will just bite you in the butt. Now, sometimes buying in bulk actually isn't the best option. Sometimes I've found that if you buy items separately, if you add up the price per item or ounce, sometimes it actually is cheaper to buy several small packages versus buying the big package. So just look for that price per ounce or item sticker at your grocery store. Some of these stores where you can get great deals on buying in bulk are places like Costco, BJ's, or Sam's Club. And if you go to Costco, you can get those Costco hot dogs and free samples. My next tip is buy food that's in season. There are different seasons throughout the year where food is more in abundance. You want to follow the best harvest times for food. So for example, in the summer, you can find strawberries way less expensive. Around where I live, you can find strawberries for around $1 a pound in the summer. But if you try to get strawberries in the winter, where they're not in season, then you could be spending about $4 per pound. If you go on Google, you can find a ton of different food charts out there showing you which foods are in season. I recommend grabbing one of these, maybe putting it up on your fridge to help you know what to shop for during the season that you're in. Next tip, don't shop on an empty stomach. When you're hungry and you go to the grocery store, you are statistically less practical with your food purchases. And instead of thinking with your brain, you think with your stomach. Next tip, buy the store brands. Store brands are often just as good as the name brand. And if you decide to go store brand, on average, you can save about 30% on getting the same food. So I recommend taking a leap of faith. Instead of buying the name brand of an item, why don't you try the generic store brand and see if you even like it better? And if you're not satisfied, most stores allow you to swap out your item. Most of the time I'm fine eating generic, but some items just aren't the same. Pop-Tarts, they're the best. My next tip, don't always buy organic. There are a lot of foods out there that you do not have to buy organic. Now, the reason you want to buy organic most of the time over non-organic is you don't want those pesticides on your food. But I found some research from the Environmental Working Group. Every year they publish a shopper's guide about pesticides in produce. They measure the amount of pesticide residue left on produce, and they have a list of fruits and veggies that they deem safe that you don't have to buy organic. I'll have a link in the description where you can check out their guide. Next tip, don't let your food go to waste. Eat them leftovers. The US is the global leader in food waste. Americans discard nearly 40 million tons of food a year. That's 80 billion pounds of food. That's about $161 billion wasted a year. So if you divide that up per person, that's about 219 pounds each. So out of the US food supply, this is about 30 to 40% wasted. So on average, each American household spends about $7,203 on food a year. If 30 to 40% of that is wasted, you could be throwing away about $2,160 to $2,880 a year. If you can make your food purchases count and make sure you don't waste any of the food that you buy, you could be saving that 30 to 40%. Next tip! Food box subscriptions. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of food boxes. I definitely think that you can save a lot more money shopping at the grocery store rather than having it delivered to you. But I will say, if you are the type of person who does eat out a lot and you're trying to transition into cooking more at home, I think food boxes are a great way to go. A food box can definitely give you a boost of confidence with cooking at home. And it can give you some go-tos for making meals throughout the week. I've had some friends that have tried out some of these food subscription boxes, and it's helped them to gain confidence in cooking at home. And after a while, they were able to cancel their subscription and transition to shopping at the grocery store more whenever they knew exactly what they needed to be shopping for. But if you do already cook at home a lot of the time, these boxes can also be awesome because they can give you some inspiration for new dishes to make, which can in turn give you more satisfaction cooking at home. Most of these boxes also offer free trials or heavy discounts for the first month of use. So you can even try out a few of these, get some heavy discounts, some delicious food, and learn some new recipes. Next tip! Use coupons or rebate apps. I don't usually use coupons since I shop at Aldi, and they rarely have coupons, but Aldi just has it at the lowest price anyway. But if you shop at Kroger, Publix, even Whole Foods, a lot of times they have coupons to help you save some money. They have store apps where you can load up coupons, and hey, you can even put your shopping list on there. There are also rebate apps. One of my favorite rebate apps to use is Ibotta, or Ibotta? I don't know. I've made back about $200 just using this app alone. So apps like these, they'll have rebates on items in the store. When you purchase that item, you scan it on your receipt, and then the app sends you money. And sometimes it even gives you cash just for shopping in general. Sometimes just by scanning the receipt and not buying an item that's even on their list, they'll just throw you free money. In the description, I have a referral link to Ibotta if you want to sign up and try it out. It's free, but there is also other rebate apps out there that you might want to check out over here. Now on to my last main tip. Use a credit card that gives you points back on groceries purchases. There are a handful of cards out there that can give you some massive points. One of the best cards out there for grocery store purchases is the American Express Blue Cash Preferred card. It'll give you 6% on grocery store purchases. Another card I recommend for saving on grocery store purchases and food purchases is one that I own. It's the American Express Gold Card. The American Express Gold Card will give you about 4% back on grocery store purchases, and it'll give you 4% back on restaurant purchases. Not only that, they'll give you $120 yearly food credit as well. Pair that with a nice sign-up bonus, and you can get some free travel as well. More on that in future videos. Whew, that is all my main tips, but you guys are too good. I'm gonna give you some bonus tips. Make a garden. My wife and I decided to make a garden for the first time this year, and it has been awesome. There's an initial cost to get your garden set up, buy the seeds, get the plants, but over time you can definitely save a little bit on buying food from the store. And you know what's going into your food. And it's just the coolest thing to be able to walk outside and just pick some food right from your yard. My next tip is secret shopping. This is something that me and my wife have done in the past to save money on eating out. We would get paid to go into a restaurant to order food and review the food whenever we were done at the restaurant. We had to follow some guidelines and even go to the bathroom and take pictures of what it looked like in there, but it paid for our whole meal and even a little more on top sometimes. So if you're interested, I would do a quick Google search for secret shopping in your area. My next tip are for those who are maybe struggling a little bit with trying to keep up with their finances, who are maybe on the edge of poverty. Food drives may be a great option for you to check out. If you go to feedingamerica.org, you can do a search and find a local food bank in your area. I personally have filmed at a ton of different food banks out there, and there's a lot out there that have great quality food. So if you're in a bind, go check out your local food bank. My final bonus tip is dumpster diving.
Ew, Joe, dumpster diving, that's gross. How could you?
There are a ton of articles online about how to dumpster dive in a sanitary way. I personally have tried out dumpster diving, and in some areas it's legal, some areas it's kind of on the fence of being legal. Grocery stores deem it acceptable to have up to 5% of their food wasted. So a lot of times if a grocery store is kind of gonna be doing a shelving change, coming out with new items and they need to push certain items, sometimes they just throw food away that's perfectly good and in date. Also, if a grocery store gets too much supply of a certain food and they know that a portion of that food is gonna go bad and they're not gonna be able to sell enough, they'll just chunk it. I have found boxes of fresh packaged food that were well before their expiration date. Also, grocery stores will throw away food that has damaged packaging. Sometimes I've found food items that are still in the package, still in the box, just have a little dent on it. For example, one time I found a box of Pop-Tarts and it just had a little dent on the side, but everything was packaged up all nice and they were just as good. Whew, guys. That is all my favorite tips on saving on food. This was a long one. Oh my gosh. There are a lot more tips out there that can help you save on food. These are just some of my favorites. But if you can implement some, if not all of these suggestions, then you can save big time on your food expenses. If you learned something new today and you want to support the channel, please lightly demolish that like button. And if you want to see more content like this about saving money and making money, please consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell so that you can be notified of future videos. If you want to jumpstart your investing journey, I have a link in the description below for Robinhood where you can get 1 free stock for signing up. There's also a link to Webull where you can get 1 stock for signing up. And if you deposit $100 into your account, then you can get another stock worth up to $1,400. Until next time, see you later, buddy.